All right. So the next thing I'm going to talk a little bit about is academic support services. So there's going to be tons of different styles of support services for students. And it depends on if a school offers them for free or some of them you might get charged. I'm not 100% sure. This is something that you could actually look at, on the website at a visit, virtually send an email to the admissions team to kind of find out. So tutoring usually will be content and writing. So you always go to the tutor if you ever need any help with like a paper. And I always say go early because especially with papers, you need lots of rounds of feedback. And the night before, you're only going to get one. And so if you go early and often, it'll be super. And so a lot of times these schools have, apps where you can make appointments. You go 30-minute increments, get what you need, go work on it again, come back if you need to. And then there's also content tutoring too. So math or criminal justice, like how to study for, an exam with 100 vocabulary words, right? They'll give you some solutions and suggestions, or maybe they might organize study groups. So always check out the tutoring service if you think that that's something you might need. Maybe you're picking a major that you know is going to be challenging, but you love the end career goal of it. And so, you got to just kind of grit through this particular 4 or 5 years. But you're going to need some support. Remember, the strongest people in the world aren't strong out the womb, right? They're strong because they realize, okay, this is going to be an obstacle. How will I overcome it? And you'll see that even in the document that you're going to fill out in the workbook with the hopes and fears, right? So the hopes and fears document is there for you to say, what is my fear and what's the plan to overcome it? So maybe one of you, your fears is taking chemistry. You heard lots of horror stories, whether through someone real or maybe someone through a movie or a television show. And so you're already nervous about it. And so if that is the case for you, you just say, what is my plan to overcome? Go to tutoring 2 times a week. Put it in your calendar and just make it happen. Then you have learning coaches. So learning coaches are there to help you with things like time management, maximizing resources on campus, preparing to talk to a professor about an issue if you're not sure how to approach them. They're there basically to help you study smarter and not harder, right? So they're not going to help you with the content. You'll go to tutoring for that. But they might help you with how to take notes in a lecture hall when you don't get to write, different things down and ask questions, or how to read your textbook. In high school, you're so used to the teacher kind of going page by page. It's a little bit different in college, right? They're literally just going to go over the highlighted parts. But the context of the highlighted parts is what's going to get you the information that you need. And so once you have that, you will then feel like you're a successful student. Learning coaches sometimes give advice about, financial literacy. It just depends on a university. And so that's something you want to look up just to ensure that if you know you're going to need it, it's there for you. And then for my students who need accommodations, accommodations can be extended time because of some IEP that you might have had where you might need extended time. It could be getting a note taker if you have any concerns with taking notes or maybe writing ability. Even if you play intramural basketball and you sprain your ankle, and you need a wheelchair to get around campus, your services for accommodation, that office is going to be there to support you. So any accommodation that you had in high school, there's a different process for college, but definitely find that office if you already know you need it and see what resources they have. Sometimes they have mentor programs, they have their own separate orientation, and sometimes they just have different kind of support groups for parents to help you kind of figure out how to support your student while in college if they need accommodations.